Welcome to my basement, everybody. Hope you're all doing great. I didn't have time to check the framing on this, but it looks okay. Michelangelo's right back there. We're going to be talking about some toys in today's episode. Happy Friday. This has been a very busy week filled with all kinds of huge announcements. And, of course, the Game Awards last night, which I streamed, sat with you guys for the whole thing, and it was a lot of fun. It was the way to do it. It was awesome to have you all here, and we got to kind of see the awards get handed out. Some of them kind of rocket fire, some of them a little too fast, but we got to see some great reactions. We got to hear Eddie Vedder sing. It was a lot of fun yesterday. It was very cool. But during that announcement, or during the awards and the announcements, there were also all of the big Disney reveals, and I think I've itemized most of them today in the rundown. We're going to go through them and chat about them, but I want you to keep me honest, and if there's stuff that I missed, let me know, and we'll talk about all of this cool stuff. First one in the room today was Jean-Luc Pinson. Let me get that right. Jean-Luc Pinson. So he says, hello, EP. So that means that the rundown is dedicated to him. But Goku is here, and Nintendo Boy 17, Alpha Cat, Spidey 82, Ben Gordon, D-Side Botham. We've got Strawman and Stingray X. Good to see you. Some names I don't see all the time, which is awesome. Hi there. And Rock 101. Apparently a radio station is tuning in, watching us right now, which is great. Okay, we are going to get started because we have a lot to cover today. We're going to have a lot of fun, and it's the only way to deal with the end of the week. And next week, of course, I'll give you a couple of reminders about this. Yeah, every day at 4 o'clock every day. We're pushing it a little bit later. 4 p.m. every day next week. Live Rocket and Ray Gun shows, and we're going to go through a bunch of the categories and talk about them and have some fun. And we're also going to be sprinkling the video contributions that I'm getting from folks. And you, all of you that are watching this, whether you're watching this live on the chat right now or watching an archive of this video, you can also contribute. There is a video on our channel right now on youtube.com/EPNTV that sort of takes you through, but basically I'll break it down for you. Go to facebook.com/Electric Playground. That's our Facebook page, and you can private message me either a link to a video or a little blurb that you want me to read, or you can actually upload the video right into the private message there. That way you're kind of just sharing it with EP privately. And just make sure that I can download it on my end. And then we'll edit them into our timelines for the shows next week, and we'll have some fun, and we'll chat about all that stuff, and it'll be great to see everybody there too. Okay, let's get started with Jean-Luc Pinson's rundown. Okay, everybody knows yesterday was a Disney day. There was a lot of stuff revealed, and it's really hard to keep it all straight. There was so many things going on. But, of course, Star Wars, based on the massive success on the Mandalorian, is exploding with a whole bunch of Star Wars ideas and stories, and nobody is slowing down on the Marvel front either. So we've got new shows based on Loki, and, of course, we've known about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're starting to see some footage there. We saw Ms. Marvel, and just this blast of all of these different brands. It's unbelievable and, somewhat overwhelming. I mean, there is just so much stuff to get into. Let's take a look a little bit at the Star Wars stuff that was announced. The Bad Batch is one of the new shows that's headed our way to Disney+. This is based on the Clone Wars, obviously. The Bad Batch appeared in the sort of last episode or last season that they brought out onto the platform, and the Bad Batch is filled with awesome characters. So we got a little teaser of that. We also got a little in-production teaser of the new Andor, Cassian Andor. Haven't said that out loud too much. Cassian Andor. Yeah, Andor is the name of the new show. And this is Diego Luna, who is very charming and definitely into it. He says in this little blurb here that he was disappointed that it was all ending after Rogue One. But here's just a taste of everything. Lando, Rogue Squadron, which Peggy, what's her last name? Peggy, the woman that's directing Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman films, is directing that. Ahsoka's getting her own show. Rangers of the New Republic. It's exhausting, and see, it went too fast. I couldn't even keep up with all of that stuff. So there are a ton of stuff. A new Indiana Jones movie is coming. We're getting animated stuff. We're getting Star Wars Visions, which is going to be like little cool vignettes and little moments from Star Wars. Darth Vader is coming back into the Obi-Wan show, and they are bringing Hayden Christensen back to be Darth Vader, and they're promising another duel between Vader and Obi-Wan's that's going to take place before the events of Star Wars: A New Hope. It's really interesting. They're filling all of these different gaps, and some of it is kind of being filled in with Mando as well. But it's Patty Jenkins. Thank you for the folks that were popping in there with that. And she is super excited. Apparently, she is the daughter of a fighter pilot who was killed in action, and has always wanted to kind of represent that stuff on screen. She's a big Star Wars fan. They did this great video, and I should have popped it in here, but she's getting out of her car, and then she's walking towards what you think is a plane, but it's an X-Wing fighter. I can't believe it. So Rogue Squadron is her movie, and it does feel like there's starting to be a lot of overlap with all the Star Wars lore, the game lore, like we saw the Dark Troopers in the Mando show, and the movie lore, the book lore, the comic lore. There's lots and lots of little pieces sort of coming together. Nothing really kind of punching up, in terms of show or movies. The High Republic plans. I don't know if taking the High Republic, which was announced last year, I believe, which was going to be the new direction for Star Wars. I don't know if that has been sort of pushed just to literary work and comic work, and they're going to focus on what we know from the movieverse, but it does feel like they're filling in what, the spaces that we could see in the timeline that we already know in the movie universe. But it's incredibly exciting, and clearly Dave Filoni is having a huge influence across all of the Star Wars storytelling that's happening right now, which I couldn't be happier for. Kenneth Crawley says, "Hey Victor, how is it going, my man? Lots of great stuff announced. Tyler's new Superman CW suit. I did see that for Superman and Lois. It looks great, by the way. They're certainly keeping us geeks very, very happy and excited, and it feels like we're going to get all the 2020 stuff in 2021, and we're going to get all the new 2021 stuff in 2020. It's going to be a lot to process, a lot to do. The Star Wars stuff is over the next 5 years or something like that, or over the next 10 years. So movies in theaters, and of course, everything is going to be on Disney Plus. But Star Wars shows up the yin yang, and lots and lots of Marvel stuff. In fact, let's talk a little bit about the Marvel reveals. We're starting to see a little of the WandaVision look and feel, which has this really weird 50s, 60s sitcom type thing, a little Brady Bunch kind of vibe. This is going to be a surreal trip, and definitely playing into the multiverse kind of landscape that Doctor Strange and the Spider-Man movie is also going to be playing with. Speaking of that, there's the What If animated show, which looks phenomenal, and all of the What If animated bits, I think their standalone episodes are bringing back movie actors. So the Haley Atwell, who plays Peggy Carter, is going to be the new Captain Britain or whatever her character is going to be. But that's so cool. So Peggy Carter becomes a super soldier. Here's a little look, speaking of super soldiers, at the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which looks absolutely breathtaking and so big and much, like cinematic, which is what Disney Plus has always been promising. Their shows are going to look like the movies. Very cool to see Owen Wilson in the Loki show. They had a little teaser taste of what Ms. Marvel is going to be about. And of course, she just had a really nice, platform in the Marvel's Avengers video game. But a lot of shows. This is over the next 30 months or so, or 5 years or so. What If, Eternals, the Hawkeye show, and they're starting to kind of reveal some of Kate Bishop on screen, and that looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. She-Hulk, Black Widow is finally going to hit the screens and Disney Plus soon. Shang-Chi. This is a lot of movies coming our way. Captain Marvel 2, and Ms. Marvel is going to be in Captain Marvel 2. I can't wait. And the woman that they cast for Hawkeye, what's her name again? She is terrific. Oh God, I forget the actor's name, but she's terrific. She's a singer and an actor. She's like a huge sensation out there right now, so it's a big deal for her. And Chadwick Boseman is voicing Black Panther, I believe, which is heartbreaking and also awesome. And of course, Marvel announced that they're not going to recast Chadwick Boseman. They're going to explore the other characters of Wakanda, and we're going to get something different for Black Panther 2, which will be very, very cool. Haley Steinfeld is our new Kate Bishop. Thank you, Blair Farrell. She is... she's a terrific actor. She was in, what the heck was it? The Western with Jeff Bridges. I can't remember. I can't jump from Marvel and Star Wars to the Coen brothers' incredible True West. Is that right? Oh, man, she's so good. But I'm so fired up for all of these things. This is insane. And it was such a thunder-stealing moment through the Game Awards. True Grit. Thank you, Ben Gordon. Yeah, that was an incredible film. And she was the young girl that... oh my God, Jeff Bridges has to take care of during that film, and kind of this old curmudgeon, kind of gunslinger has to take care of. If you've never seen True Grit, you have to see it. There was an old John Wayne movie too, but the best one is the Coen brothers one, Jeff Bridges and Haley Steinfeld. I've loved her since then, and she's been in lots of other cool things. She was in a Bumblebee movie, which was actually much better than anybody expected, including myself. That was a great film, but she's going to be awesome, and Ender's Game as well. Is that right? Ender's Game was also pretty damn cool. That was sort of hidden kind of gem of a feature. I dug that movie. Great, and Edge of 17. We got some Haley Steinfeld fans in the audience out there. I am one too. I cannot wait to see what she does as our new Hawkeye. But clearly, Disney is, they've got action figures to sell. They've got new parts of their theme park to build. They want us to know all of these characters and these properties. And they've also got more streaming subscriptions that they want to fill. And clearly, all of that is happening because they are totally pouring money and investing into all of these things that should be epic, man, and should be unbelievable escapes. And judging by the success of Mandalorian, which we're going to talk about after in a little bit here, it all makes sense, right? I mean, The Mandalorian kind of proves it all out. And I'm sure a lot of production is going to be influenced across all of these movies, all of these featured shows. The way that they have been producing The Mandalorian is going to be so influential for Disney, and probably keep costs low and sets safe, and keep us very happy and entertained. The one thing that is going... that is also going to be an equation here, and I think maybe some of you are starting to comment on that, is the, $3 a month more now. That's Rick B. This is people mentioning that Disney Plus is going to go up, just like Netflix has continued to go up as they have invested in more and more original content. Still, less than the price of a movie ticket, and you get all of that stuff. I mean, The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, I think, kind of justifies it. And then if you start digging into like old Spider-Man cartoons and X-Men cartoons and all the Clone Wars and all that stuff, I think the price right now for what you pay for Disney Plus totally is justified. And then what we're getting going forward, clearly they are not letting up. And the pricing is different in every territory, Goku. So it might be $7.99 in America, but it might be $10 or more here in Canada. But clearly they're looking at ways to really bring value back there. And they are also always talking about bringing live sports and live news and stuff like that into the program, and some of the more mature rated stuff. We talked yesterday about Deadpool maybe being in the next Spider-Man movie, which integrates them into the MCU, which means that we probably will start to see the Deadpool movies and some other R-rated stuff propagate on Disney Plus, which will be crazy. And so Netflix can't take this lying down. And then, of course, the other thing that we've been talking about for the last week or so is all of the HBO Max stuff that AT&T and Warner Brothers are mired in right now. All of Hollywood is kind of trying to take meetings and say, wait a second, we didn't sign up for this. Denis Villeneuve talking about how Dune has been undercut by sort of removing the option to see that from theater. Well, not removing, but certainly putting a huge onus on people to stay safe and watch that at home if that is their preference. Subscriptions are going to go up for HBO Max, but they also have to keep the creative community happy. And Marvel, in addition to owning all of these properties and being very smart at kind of, purchasing and acquiring characters, which is really what they've been doing, isn't it? I mean, if you think about the the broad stretches of all of these different properties. It's about these different interesting collection of characters that are going to be walking around the parks, and people are going to be carrying around. I didn't even get into the Disney live action Peter Pan and all of the other directions that Disney Plus is going into. But they really, really get that. And they also understand how to put them all under an umbrella and to sprinkle their magic dust on all of the actors and the creators that make these characters come to life, so that they are all like, okay, yeah, I'm signing up for this series. Who knows how long it's going to run and how long this movie universe is going to be there. And Warner Brothers, they have those characters. They do. I mean, in their library, in their staple, they've put a ton of stuff out there, but they don't have a theme park. They don't have that same, I think it's a little more cutthroat. It's a little bit more business oriented at Warner Brothers, as opposed to this, it's all magic. There's big business at Disney as well, but there is this projection that it's magic that makes everything come together. And I think the parks and the merchandising and the partnerships that Disney has really worked hard to establish, and the acquisitions, I mean, they're in the catbird seat. They are really, really on fire, and I cannot wait to see how all of these come together. Now, presumably, there's going to be some stumbles in here, especially when you consider how much of a track record Kevin Feige has right now. I mean, he really didn't produce in the whole MCU run up to this point. He really didn't get a movie out to market that was like fully. I mean, you can argue with me on this, but from my vantage point, it was success after success after success. Now, they weren't all $1 billion+ blockbusters that satisfied everybody on every quadrant like Avengers Endgame, but they were all entertaining movies. And even if they weren't as entertaining as we hoped they were, and I would say Captain Marvel 1 was kind of in that camp, it was still a fun film, and it's definitely worth the revisit, and it fits alongside all of the other movies. And I don't know if you can say that about what DC has put out into the world with the Harry Potter stuff. Like, there's a lot of people that aren't a huge fan of the Fantastic Beasts movies. I would even say the Harry Potter movies kind of went up and down a little bit, but and James Bond movies don't go like that, and certainly the DC movies aren't that sort of reliable. But the Marvel stuff has been insane. Even Star Wars hasn't been that reliable. It's been very contentious. But presumably Kevin Feige can't stay on this role forever, can he? I mean, it's crazy. If he does, he's going to have, maybe the most underappreciated career Hollywood has ever created, because I think people take him for granted a little bit. But it takes some mad skills to, especially when you have incredible creators like Edward Norton, raise a stink about whatever was happening with the Hulk, and then gone and replaced by Ruffalo, and Terrence Howard as Rhodey. Okay, bye-bye, and then what's the new Rhodey's name? Well, he's not new now. I don't have his name on the top of my head, but they replace him. They put in a new actor, and he's excellent, and nobody thinks about those guys anymore. That's hard to do, and he does it. It's insane. But yeah, very impressive. I think the Mandalorian is really turning things around for Star Wars. I think this episodic stuff is really a strong way to present these stories. Scale them down a little bit, but fill them with awesome little moments. Don Cheadle, yeah, he's terrific as Rhodey. And I think there's some kind of War Machine thing bubbling up too. I think we're going to get more from War Machine. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with HBO Max and how they're going to counter with this. I see that Kenneth Crawley's a big fan of the DC TV stuff. But certainly there's been some missed ops with the Netflix Marvel deal that happened with Daredevil and Iron Fist and all that stuff, and then pulling all that down, and then now it's bubbling up like some of those actors are going to appear in MCU. It's going to get crazy. I don't know, when someone tries to make a cinematic universe, they basically call him the insert franchise's name, Kevin Feige. Well, I mean, VR Grid, he certainly proved himself to be that, but I feel like people... I mean, yes, he is a he's a brand name at this point. We all know and recognize this producer's name, which is something, because a lot of producers don't get that kind of recognition. But what this person has accomplished with Marvel is unbelievable. Like I'm certain that like we're all in the know. We all love this stuff, and we read the books and play the games, and we know these characters. I don't know everything about all of this stuff. I'm not a Kevin Feige, but I think we all, our group, everybody that's watching EP, we're all like, like I remember seeing Avengers with Scott and Billy Campbell. I drop his name all the time. I'm just, it blows me away that I'm friends with the Rocketeer. But I remember seeing the Avengers with those guys, and we literally could not fathom what we had just witnessed. It was just like and if the same thing again with Age of Ultron, and we saw Vision pull off all of his powers, and when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, no one's going to give a crap about a talking raccoon. Come on, man. There's a tree. A tree is a hero. What? I didn't know anything about those guys. And then, hello, I'm live. And then, so you can't come over this way, okay? And then there was, what the heck? Oh, my kid just blew all my train of thought there. I love you, though. But he made these impossible things completely believable, and proved us all wrong, and I don't know, it's an unbelievable accomplishment. So I'm fired up. Kurt Russell was a great Snake Plissken. I have a Kurt Russell figure back there. Man, I miss that was Cosmo Afterlife 71. Man, I miss Daredevil. Rick B. Man, I miss Daredevil. Dad Vic is the best Vic. Yeah, I mean, if I could make if I could pivot and make a parents gaming thing, I think about that all the time. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm busy with EP, but I certainly dig I love my life as a dad, and it's an amazing gift to be a parent. I think you guys know that. So kudos to all of you parents out there, and all of you thinking about one day being parents. But having a child is, wow, it's amazing. Anyways, I am I'm a very lucky human being. I think you guys know that. I certainly know that. Anyways, let us go and let us move on. I could talk about Marvel for this whole show. You guys know I can. I've done it before. But we're going to move on and talk about some other fun things. But first, it's time for This Day in Everything Cool. Welcome to This Day and Everything Cool for December 11th. On this day in 1999, Nintendo unleashed a double D-sized gaming innovation. The Nintendo 64 DD was released in Japan, serving as an add-on for the N64. Short for disk drive, the DD sat underneath and plugged into the existing console and allowed players to pop in magnetic discs. The discs had much more storage than traditional N64 cartridges, and they were also much easier for developers to work with and cheaper to manufacture. That didn't really help, though, because the 64 DD just didn't have enough games. It only launched with 2 titles, Mario Artist Paint Studio and the simulation game Doshin the Giant, and by the end of its run, it only had a meager 10 games. Another problem was that the DD was released so late into the N64's lifespan. It was originally supposed to land closer to the release of the N64, but numerous technical problems forced Nintendo to delay it more than 2 years. Because of all these problems, the 64 DD sold very poorly in Japan, so Nintendo scrapped plans for an international launch, and it was never officially released outside of its home country. The good news is that Nintendo used their learnings about disc-based gaming to create their next console, the GameCube. The disk drive for the Nintendo 64. I remember I interviewed Ken Lobb about that back then when he was at Nintendo, and that was coming. That was going to be a big deal. I think there's a video. We cut that out of whatever EP episode that was in. We cut that out and made a specific video just about that conversation, because it's fascinating. What a fascinating direction. And then what a circuitous route that Nintendo has taken so that the Switch is back to cartridges. And I wonder what's next. I wonder what Nintendo is going to plan for us with whatever future console. Are they going to go back to discs? What are they going to do? F in chat for 64DD. I don't know what that means. Okay. This just triggered a memory of Game Genie. Thanks for the time warp, Peter Kokosora. That's what happens when you're doing this for 25 years. And, it's video content. We have 25 years of video content. And so you see your life. I see my life flash before my eyes a lot because it's all sitting there on the channel, and sometimes I look for classic footage and classic moments and things like that, and it's surreal. And no one tells you that, no one prepares you for that, and it's interesting to see like these remakes of games. I've talked about this before, but remakes of games that I was there for the first go round, making a TV show about reviewing these things, and then they're back and like, wow. Okay, I guess I've been doing this a while. But anyways, let us talk about The Mandalorian. It is one of my favorite conversation topics these days. I watched it again with my daughter this morning. It is our tradition. It's our ritual on Fridays. And we get up fairly early and we watch it together, and we both are completely entertained and blown away by the absolute beautiful imagination that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, I think it's, I forget the director's name. I think I've got it right here. Rick Famuyiwa or something like that. He was a part of the last season. It's called The Believer, and it is another fantastic episode. I don't know if this latest episode is maybe as strong as some of the earlier ones that we've had this season, but overall, this season, and I tweeted this, I can't think of a show that has thrilled me and entertained me in my whole life more than this season of The Mandalorian. The fact that we have Boba Fett, and huge spoilers, by the way. I'm spoiling the show in this convo, so if you haven't seen it, you shouldn't watch this stuff. But basically, Boba Fett and Mando are buddy-buddy. Mando has lost Grogu, and that's Baby Yoda, for those that refuse to call him that. It's Grogu, right? I'm still getting used to saying that. And so Mando has lost his little companion, his son, basically, to Moff Gideon, played by Giancarlo Esposito. And so he's trying to track down where they are, where his giant ship is, and he's trying to get his kid back, basically. And so what he does is he's starting to assemble the Dirty Dozen, his group of trained killers and assassins and very resourceful allies to go on this very dangerous mission against the Imperials, this burgeoning Imperial force that's happening, and get back his son. And so one of the ways that he has to do it is he has to get inside of an Imperial computer system. And so he has to track down an old Imperial, who we saw in the first season. Comedian Bill Burr is back. I forget the character's name, but he's fantastic. He's like this kind of slimy, scummy mercenary type that goes off on all kinds of dangerous missions. And he's ex-Imperial, holds some grudges against the Empire. And they have to go into this base in order for Bill Burr's character to access a computer terminal so that they can pinpoint the whereabouts of Moff Gideon. And so there's this huge, cool moment and sequence in the show where they're getting into a base by taking these massive kind of train trucks and driving them over dangerous territory on this planet. And they are being chased and pursued by pirates who are trying to blow up what they're carrying, which is highly volatile. And so it's kind of nerve-nators, and they keep trying to blow it up. And it's a very cool sequence. And Mando is forced to take off his outfit, and he puts on a stormtrooper outfit, so he's kind of incognito. And they get inside this base, and they meet with this really well-performed Imperial officer who Bill Burr's character's got a history with. And things go south, and they got to shoot their way out, and it's all thrilling, and there's huge explosions, and we see this tenuous kind of sequence where the stormtroopers are actually helping our heroes escape from the pirates, which was really cool. TIE fighters swoop in and it's just all of these effects coming together. Even the fact that Bill Burr and Mando are running on a rooftop, getting chased by stormtroopers who have figured out that they're in the wrong place, and they're blasting at them. And Slave One flies in because Boba Fett's there to kind of rescue these guys, and it's just like, my head just can't deal with it. It's just so freaking cool. I cannot believe that this is on every week. And I know I say that every week, but it's, for somebody that, like, I collected all of those little Star Wars characters, and Boba Fett was like a big get. I was so psyched. I probably had multiple Boba Fetts, and Boba Fett was always the freaking coolest character. I mean, we all loved Han Solo back then, but Boba Fett didn't even have to say anything. He just looked so freaking cool, and now he's like a supporting character to another wicked Mandalorian who is just amazing and so well performed. That's the other thing. We get to see Pedro Pascal's face for a minute in this episode as well. So, yeah, it's marvelous, and the whole season is holding together so well. And you really we're going on an arc with this guy that doesn't show his face. Like, we're really emotionally invested in his pursuit to save his son. It's just insane. There's been epic, beautiful cinematic moment after epic, beautiful cinematic moment all season long. And I watched the first season about 8 times. I kept going back, and I feel like I'm going to go back and watch all of these episodes again and again and again and again. That's why I say the Disney Plus subscription is totally worth it. I mean, it's like the price of a couple of DVD sets or something. And it's like if they were records, I would have worn them out. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like season 2, and that doesn't always happen. A lot of times the sophomore season, the second season, stumbles. A lot of the sort of great legwork and design stuff that goes into the first season isn't always answered by the second season and subsequent seasons. And that's the other thing too. Shows have a lifespan. They can't go on forever. And every great series, Battlestar, Lost, lots of them, X-Files, there are times where it's just like, okay, we didn't need, like Smallville. I used to love watching Smallville, but it was kind of like the overview of what was going on in Clark's life that I was, and how it correlated with the comic lore that I knew, that I loved the most. And when they got into these weird sequences where it was Freak of the Week kind of thing, they had too much of that. And I think it's a real blessing that we only get these limited episode seasons with Mando. I think next episode might be the last of season 2. And then I'm going to be off because we're going to be talking about, so it'll be in January when EP comes back, but I'll recap the whole thing and score it. But holy crap, I'm so entertained. I'm so grateful. I actually have a little bit of video content of what's been going on this season, and it's just so well made. I mean, all of the effects, the puppetry with Grogu, and the realism of the outfits and the armor. There's an amazing sequence in this current episode where Mando's wearing the Stormtrooper armor, and it's just not as tough as his Beskar steel, and it's shattering when he gets hit. The fact that we get these, it was a Bo-Katan and Ahsoka Tano, and all of these different cameos from the Filoni-verse, which you really feel, and especially after today's announcements, that the baton that Lucas gave to Disney, not all of it has been smooth, and likely not all of it will be smooth, but it's certainly been passed at this point. And so now we're going to get a sense of the totality of the cinematic universe of what Star Wars can be. All of these indelible, iconic elements and incredible creature designs and spaceship designs and world building that Filoni also really had a huge part in with the animated work that he was a part of. All of that now is going to be embellished to a degree that is so, it's the stuff we dreamt of. I can't stress that enough. There were 3-year gaps between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I was first in line in Empire Strikes Back. I'm all over the Star Wars stuff today, but I was first in line at Empire Strikes Back when it came into Vancouver at the Stanley Theater here in Vancouver. I skipped out of school. I was on the news. I think my mom was not too pleased, but she understood my adoration for this universe. And I didn't make it early enough to be first in line for Return of the Jedi, but I stayed a couple of times to see Empire back when you could do that in movie theaters, and I stayed for 3 showings of Return of the Jedi. I just stayed in my seat. And, I'd go up for popcorn and bathroom breaks, and I'd just watch the movie 3 times over. But we waited 3 years. We read our Star Logs and read the novelizations and the comic books. And all of these things, all of these ideas that we had around Star Wars just, were so big and epic, and they could take us in every direction. And Lucas and his teams didn't disappoint when they built those first 3 films. And then the wait was 15 years or something like that for Episode 1. And Episode 1 was a cool experience to be a part of when we saw that. We saw a midnight screening, but it was a bit sleepy, But that wait was interminable, insufferable. But at least there was lots of other lore that was out there. But to see the fruits of all of this, and clearly all of these different people that are, as passionate, at least about filmmaking and what they can do with this universe, is I don't know. I just feel very fortunate, It's just crazy. And it's always been, like any kid of the 70s and 80s, I think, that was around. And I remember just bouncing down the street when I saw Star Wars in theaters. And my mom took us to the Dunbar Theater here in Vancouver, and we walked home. We lived in that area, that on the west side of Vancouver. And my brother and I, we were just bouncing down the street. We couldn't believe it. R2-D2 was my favorite character then. I was very young, but my mind had just been blown, And it was so influential in what I wanted to pursue for a living and for my life. It led me to acting, and it led me clearly to the Electric Playground. And then EP was intertwined with Lucas Arts, right from the very beginning. We had this relationship with those folks, and we were always interviewing Star Wars creators, at some level, whether they were comic people or video game people or action figure people. And so I don't know. I feel I feel like I've been on this parallel path with the Star Wars universe since I was really young. And so I don't know. I feel like the Mandalorian's like this gift to me, If I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it just feels like such a personal, beautiful gift. That's what I feel. That's just amazing. Evil One says, thanks for being there during all the good and bad. My family is burying my grandma tomorrow, and things have been rough. Have a great time off. You deserve it. Oh my God, Evil One. Thank you for the super chat. Listen, guys, this has been a shit year. There is no other way to say it. And I have a lot of friends across, Facebook and stuff, and people in their immediate family are passing away, and people are always asking to, for friends to send prayers. I'm very sorry, Evil One. I don't know if this is COVID related, but that seems to be a huge... a huge part, clearly, of what's happening with people and their worlds these days. So it's my condolences, but it's it's been a heavy year. And so things like Mando and all of the game entertainment and all the fun, goofy things that we get to talk about here have been really enriching and great escapism, but. It's just been really fun to lose myself in that stuff and then come and share that all with you guys. So you guys are wonderful allies as we navigate through all of this stuff. But that is super dope. Now I got a Kenneth Crawley Jr. EPN is amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks, EPN fam. That was from Evil One. You guys are showing support. Best chat on the internet. You guys are incredible. Adrian Leon says, it's the arrow thing is covering it. I can't read it. We'll make it through. That's right, Greg Farriff. That's right. There's lots of good stuff that's happening right now. Absolutely. Life gives you shit. You make fertilizer. Don't let it get you down. Cosmo Afterlife 71. This is the real patience tester this year, though, isn't it? It's really, and it's the thing I do take some comfort in and some solace in is that it doesn't matter. Like we have a little town, I forget the name of it, Fort St. John I think it's Fort St. We have a little town in BC that, this is totally off topic, but it's horrifying. They've had a huge COVID outbreak, and it's everywhere. and the health and services up there are completely stretched. Vancouver paramedics had to fly up north to help them out. But the fact that these little towns everywhere can be affected by it, it's heartbreaking. But it also says we're all in this together. The fact that everything you see on television and the internet is kind of like this. I mean, nobody's got my cool toy collection in their but everybody's shooting out of their homes and living rooms and basements and stuff. And Ellen DeGeneres just got this damn disease yesterday. It's like everywhere. It stretched its fingers all over the place. So we're all in it together. The only way that we're going to get through this is together and to respect each other and to kind of follow guidelines. And I have a pretty good feeling that most of you are doing this. So it's great. Let me tell you, pandemics do not mix with holidays. Yes, definitely stay safe, you guys. I think that the U.S. Thanksgiving travel stuff is really going to hit. They just had 3,000 deaths yesterday in America, which was the first one. Just a heads up, Vic, I'm uploading a video on the Game Awards trailers and gave your channel and media a big shout out. Right on, Gigavega. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun yesterday. I did get slammed with copyright notices, though. That was, yeah. So I'm trimming those clips out. Most of them were commercials, by the way. But I'm trimming those bits out, so hopefully all those copyright flags will get off of there. But it was just awesome that you guys were all there. That was so much fun. Spidey82, what did you think of the Video Game Awards? I was thinking about recapping it, but we talked about so much stuff yesterday, and I kind of recapped it at the end of the video, and I've got more things to talk about. I thought it was good. I don't think it was great. I think it was a great show to put on in the pandemic, and holy crap that the world needed it. But I think what kind of, it just didn't deliver enough wow trailers. There were so many trailers, and there weren't enough trailers that were like, oh my God. I mean, the Perfect Dark one and the Ghosts and Goblins one, even though the art style is a little weird, I really like the look of it. I still want to play that very much. And there were a couple of other like what was it? The Crimson Desert one looked really cool. They showed a lot of that game off. They were very proud of it. But I liked that trailer because it was all gameplay. And I want to play that Evil Dead game, but then that was kind of undermined by how many other multiplayer zombie experiences that are coming out. But you know what? The show was cool. The fact that we had Eddie Vedder sing and what he had to say afterwards was really sweet and really from the heart, and I thought it was wonderful. I loved like what we've been talking about here with everybody making shows like this. I love the personal kind of touch of zooming into people's lives as they're live reacting to winning awards, and they're getting text messages as things are happening. Laura Bailey tearing up was really cool. I love The Last of Us Part 2, so it was a good night for Last of Us fans, and certainly I recognize not that it's not everybody's favorite game out there, but it was cool. It was cool. But yeah, I think with a show that's so reliant on those trailers, I wish that they were a little more exciting. Like the trailers that we got in the PlayStation 5 reveal, those were freaking awesome. Remember how stoked we were when we watched all that together? And there were excellent stuff in the Xbox reveals too, but the PlayStation 5 I think was one of the highlight kind of like E3 moments, and I really wanted to feel a little bit more of that out of the trailer reveals. But Jeff doesn't have a lot of control over that. Jeff and his team, they don't have a lot of control. So they put out what the game companies kind of make and what they're ready to talk about. So, all right, here we go. Vic's stream was an 8+. Just watching it on my own would have been in the 6s. There you go, Peter Kokosar. Thank you so much. It was great to have you. Oh, yeah, the Mass Effect reveal was excellent as well. Yeah. What did you guys think? You can let me know. Let me know in the chat, and I'll catch up with you guys as we're playing a little Cyberpunk. But I've got a couple of cool things to get to right now. First of all, bam! There's a code to pick up Songbird on iTunes. Whoever gets it first, let me know. This is you own the movie, and you can start watching it today. It comes out today. Songbird is released today. It was shot in L.A. during the pandemic. I forget the director's name, but Michael Bay is the producer, so there's some production value in here. And it was filmed, on the streets as they were deserted, and it was used as a backdrop. And the story is about a pandemic, so it's maybe not the happiest movie, but it's certainly timely. Let me know who gets this, okay? In the comments below. And this was provided by, who's the studio behind this? They reached out today. 1 second. Got to figure this out. Got to give them a nice thank you and a shout out there. The hashtag is Songbird Movie, by the way. Let's see. Is it STX? I don't know if it's STX in Canada. All right. Not enough VR Grid says. Yeah, I don't know who the studio is. Sorry, guys. But and I apologize to the studio that provided us these codes, but that is super cool. So let me know who's got this first one, okay, in the chat, and I've got one more to give away, and I will do that in a second. But first, speaking of VR, let's talk a little bit about Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. I don't know if VR Grid has been playing it. It came out yesterday, right as the Game Awards were happening. I actually had a code last week that was sent to me, and I put it on a computer that was just not fit for the game, and it couldn't run it. It's a hefty download. It's a 170 gigs of game, and part of that is the video content that's on here. This is a really massive endeavor from Respawn, and of course, a lot of the people, like Peter Hirschman is the lead on the game. He was a part of the original Medal of Honor game back in the day with DreamWorks Interactive. This is an entirely VR experience, and the way that it's set up is you get all of these scenes that you play through, and so it's like highlight reel type elements that we've seen in a lot of World War II experiences, a lot of shooter experiences before, but of course everything is in VR, and so you can look in every direction. There's details and little hidden items behind you and to the side of you. There's all of the different types of weaponry, machine guns and rifles and grenades that you can catch and throw back. And there are a ton of Nazis to kill, and it's pretty freaking cool. And a big part of this is also this gallery mode where you can watch this really in-depth documentary. They took veterans back to some of the battlefields in Europe, and there's a lot of storytelling and a lot of recounting and a lot of memorializing and celebrating the accomplishments and the bravery and the horrors and the reality that these people went through to kind of fight back the Nazis and fight for freedom. And the game celebrates that, but it's also an action adventure type of experience, and it's filled with lots of well acted characters that are charming, and they all, everybody's got a different kind of personality type. And of course, a big part of Medal of Honor is also the multiplayer. So they threw in multiplayer in here, and I played a little bit of the multiplayer, and I thought, oh my God, this is crazy fun. But of course, in VR, everything is it takes some time before it's all second nature. I'm sure VR Grid, who specializes in VR content, would probably pick up a lot of this stuff quicker than I was. I have to say I was fumbling and bumbling, because it's not just, you grab a clip and you stick it into the rifle. You actually have to put your hand in the right place to load the bullet into the chamber, and then you can start shooting. And sometimes you've got Nazis or enemies coming at you from every different angle because it's VR, and so it can get a little nerve-wracking. It's almost like this terrifying. I talked about it on the stream yesterday. It's like a terrifying amusement park ride, like a World War II ride, and so you're getting blasted from every direction, and so you've got to kind of come to grips with the mechanics of using the weaponry that you've got, and that's easier said than done when you're getting stormed in a tight spot or a tight corner. And I certainly saw a lot of the people that I was playing multiplayer with. They were looking down or looking up, and their shots were going all over the place. It was the launch day of the game, and things are going to get easier. I did find it a little chopped up. A little, a little convoluted. It's like, okay, we get a story sequence that you can't skip, so you got to listen to all like a briefing or the planning stuff, and then we're into an action sequence, and you're constantly going from beat to beat to beat to beat, which I think has flown better, or the flow has been better in console iterations of Medal of Honor in the past. But it's really hard to argue the production quality and the effort and the labor. Michael Giacchino's music is interspersed all the way through, and it's his brother. I forget his brother's name. I think Alexander Giacchino. His brother is actually the director of the documentary stuff, which was really wonderful, as you can imagine, right? We're seeing a lot of these vets that are in their late 80s or 90s, and they're reminiscing and getting emotional, and it really creates this wonderful emotional bed to the whole experience. It's not quite, and this has always been my issue with World War II games, it's like we're celebrating these heroic individuals, and then it's kind of cartoonized in a lot of the World War II type battle. It's not Saving Private Ryan. There's a visceral quality of everybody shooting at you, which kind of ties you to a Saving Private Ryan, but it's not the, and I don't know if we want to live through that either. Like in video game form, I don't know if we want to look down and our leg is shot off and people's guts are falling out. I mean, I remember getting sick to my stomach watching Saving Private Ryan. But it feels a little incongruous with the heaviness and the it's like the game component of that entertainment is very sentimental and very cartoony in contrast to the non-sentimental, very real, very honest, emotional weight of the docu stuff. I love that it's all packaged together, though, because there is a truth in the conveyance of the storytelling around these moments and these battles and this era, that the games as a platform really serve as a reminder for a continuous stream of generations that come to these experiences. And that was made true for me, honestly, on the first Call of Duty, and I think I've talked about this before, but I was playing that through the holiday break when it came out that year on a PC that I had back then, and I had no idea about that the Russians were forcing their service people, their soldiers, into battle without weapons, and the commanding officers in the battalions and or whatever they're called were forcing their soldiers forward, and they would say, "Look, if you don't run and grab a gun off of a dead soldier and keep going and storm the front, we're going to shoot you in the back." And so they had no choice. So these young kids that were soldiers were being forced forward. And I was playing the game going, this happened? I didn't know. And I got emotional, and I was really connected to what that meant. And certainly games can do that. But in Medal of Honor, I feel like you're just adjusting to the realities of VR. You can feel like this is the first VR experience that Respawn has put together, which means excellent production elements, but maybe not as smooth and organic a VR game that some of them are starting to become these days. But it's an amazing package, and I'm certain that it's a partnership with Oculus, and Respawn is just an incredible developer. So I'm certain it will get smooth with patches, and it will be the best shooter within a month or so. The sort of live fire feedback that's going to come in on this game is just going to tune it and improve it. But all the work is there. It's really damn good. Let's see what we got. Soviet Union under Stalin was messed up, Vic. That's from Anup Tour. I think it was Call of Duty 2 that had the Russian front, or was it an expansion pack for the first game? Henry Studio. I don't know. It was an early Call of Duty. VR feels very much like the early days of 3D, and it's very exciting, Blair Farrell. It definitely does. It does feel like the early days of game making with look around 3D mechanics and stuff. But there now is at least a half decade of maturity, and so we're seeing excellent games like Star Wars Squadrons, which is a full media experience. There is lots of proof out there. Half-Life Alyx is also one of those types of games too that sort of suggests amazing things for the future of VR. If you want to get into that discussion, you want to be talking to VR Grid for sure. Evil One is threatening me and giving me a super chat. That's very passive aggressive. Thank you very much, Evil One. You rock. Mondo Blasto Zero. In World War II, it's known that the Russians eventually could only get 3 bullets a day for each soldier. Heavy, brutal. Okay, I think those are all the things that I wanted to talk about, and I think the thing that I wanted to move on to. Let's do a little bit of. We didn't really get to play much Cyberpunk yesterday. We'll play for a little bit today. How do you guys feel about that? Jump right back in. We're gonna play a little bit on the PC, and then I thought we would play a little bit on Stadia, so you guys could see that off the same PC as well. Okay, 1 second here. I'm gonna get it going. Boom. I should. Oh, of course. No, we're not. There's more I wanted to talk about. I forgot. This is the jam-packed show. So I'll get it going in the background. But let's talk about these incredible things. Come on. There it is. Okay. So this is loading up. So I wanted to do one more gift guide. And I didn't really have time to kind of assemble a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the cool things that's happening with video games, it's been happening for a few years, but recently it's definitely been picking up. There are a lot of really cool collectibles associated with games. Of course, we've seen the Lego Overwatch packages. We've seen the Lego Super Mario stuff that came out this year. Very cool. But one of the toy creators that's out there, honestly, probably my favorite toy creator out there. They don't make like the primo high-end Hot Toys stuff. Hot Toys is incredible, but it's so friggin' pricey. It's just not for everybody. But NECA makes amazing stuff. And here is the proof of that. They sent me Wave 2 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time action figures. And so this is based on the 16-bit Super Nintendo Turtles in Time game, which has become one of my favorite side-scrolling superheroes. I've been playing a bunch of the Turtles games for that specific feature that I've been working on. And I was so blown away by Turtles in Time that I kind of started to fall in love with the Turtles now. I know they've been around forever. I know all of you love the Turtles, but I'm really just starting to dip into the lore. I've got a couple of comic book series set up that are being brought in at my local comic store, which I'm going to go pick up soon. But NECA shot me out I've got 2 of the Turtles out of the list, and so the idea here is that they're modeled after the 16-bit designs of the Turtles in Time that Konami made back in 1994, I believe. I've got Michelangelo on a surfboard, and it's so cool. You can kind of position the surfboard how you want. Everything's, I haven't really moved the arms and the legs and stuff. They've got lots of points of articulation, but I haven't really kind of posed it or anything like that. He's got his little nunchucks right there. Wave 2 also includes Leatherhead figure, which is a little bit, he's the crocodile in short pants. Is he a crocodile or an alligator? But you can see you've got the 16-bit kind of aesthetic on the paint job. So they all look like it's a little pixelated. It's just incredible. I just love it. I love the punchy colors of these designs as well. Shredder is included in the... Look at how I haven't even opened these things up yet, but I will. As you can see, I'm a toy guy that likes to open things up in the background. And I didn't get Wave 1, but I think I've got Wave 1 characters picked out for me at a toy store that I always go to in Vancouver. So if I get them, I'll show them to you guys in the next season of EP. But I freaking love this. But the other thing that NECA really loves to do, of course, they've made video game content a big part of what they offer. So here's Raphael, and he's got the, are these sais? Is that sai? I think those are, I've got nunchucks here, and I think these are the sai, right? And then there's a staff, but this is so awesome. And they come on the boards because one of the levels in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time is one of the bonus levels. Actually, it's just one of the levels. You're surfing through the sewers and you're dealing with all of Shredder's goons. It's so cool. I love it. So thank you, NECA. But I feel like you should absolutely check out what NECA has got in stores. And the cool thing about NECA is that you'll find them in every kind of toy store out there, but also comic shops and things like that, and of course online stores. But they do Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. They did some stuff with Uncharted. Actually, one of my favorite figs, you guys see this in the background all the time, is the Snake Plissken. Now, this isn't new. You've got to hunt this down on an eBay thing if you want. But he actually has a cloth outfit, and I just love this figure. It's just so awesome. There's and the prices for the smaller figures are they're manageable. Like they're not in the hundreds of dollars range that you pay for Hot Toys type toys out there, and the quality is fantastic. They've also done a lot of the large scale, quarter scale figures. They sent me a God of War a couple years ago, Kratos from the recent God of War movie. It's massive. It's incredible. Yeah, they're an amazing company, and I always have a great time talking with them. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I Am 8-Bit. They are also a company that partners with the video game space. So iam8bit.com. They're a little bit more of a specialized service kind of company, but they partner on live events and lots of products. They do things like reproduce a cartridge of a classic 16-bit thing and put it out there in some interesting ways. But they sent me the soundtrack to Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and I think they have, this is Ori and the Blind Forest, the first one, but they have Will of the Wisps music as well, and it's all beautifully crafted with, gorgeous cover artwork. If anybody's played this game, they know how incredible and sumptuous the music in the Ori games is. So if you're a video game soundtrack fanatic, they've got other video game soundtracks available on their website. You should check them out. It's I Am 8-Bit, and gorgeous artwork that represents what Moon put together for the games on the record labels as well. Excellent collectibles, but it's really cool to see that that video games are kind of infiltrating the toy space and the collectible space in some really, really cool ways. It's not just about picking up like a collector's edition. There's obviously a lot of those out there, but you can kind of create the gaming cave in your space with lots of great figures that are kind of connected to all of these different characters and stuff out there. But check out NECA and check out I Am 8-Bit. Both awesome companies. I'm going to slide this out of the way, give myself a little room for some playing here, and let us play. But I got to have my turtle. How do I have I'll have Michelangelo right back there. So he's just hanging out right here. There he is. He's just floating. Cool. Actually, we'll have him. I love these things. Okay, let us play a little bit of Cyberpunk now. This is Cyberpunk on the PC. I still don't know what model PC this is. I just ripped it open and set it up and got to playing. But it's an Asus PC. I wish I could show you guys without. I can't really. Maybe I can. One second. I don't want to break everything. It has two screens. It's so freaking cool. Look at that. It's crazy. Okay. I'll have a review on that next season. but it has been able to, like, I threw Medal of Honor on there, and it ran beautifully. And of course, I've been playing Cyberpunk, and it looks better than what it looks like on the PlayStation 5, which just blows my mind. Okay, so let's take a look at Cyberpunk. And we're just going to continue a little bit because we were just sort of getting things going yesterday. We are live from Vic's basement. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know what the other screen does. It's there. It's very sleek. The fact that the first game I'm playing on it is Cyberpunk 2077 is very surreal to me. Hey, it squished everything in again. Why did it do that? That sucks. Let's see. Let me. You know what? I think I can just stretch this out. Let's see if I can just stretch this out. Hopefully, I don't bust anything. No. No, it actually shrunk the thing. That sucks. How do I fix this? OBS did this before. I don't know what to do. Okay. Let's see if I go full screen. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it's all scrunched in. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pop over to full screen for a second, and I'm going to unplug the HDMI and try to get that going. I don't know, guys. No, that's all scrunched. I had to restart OBS last time, and if I do that, we're dead. The stream is done. I can't play it this way though. I can't play it all scrunched up. I think this is an issue in OBS. Sam I am 111. Vic leaving us unsupervised. No, it's not. It wasn't like this yesterday. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna end this stream, and then I'll start the stream again just to play the game. Okay? Somebody says just start it. We'll be fine. That's Doron David. I want you guys to see the game though. I don't want it to be all scrunched in. Feels choppy too. There's something going on here. Yeah, this is not running the way it was. There's something up. Okay, I'm gonna pause the stream here, but I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna reboot this. Okay, so hang tight.